Okay, let's go from simple to advanced grammar again. Today we'll be looking at something called past participle clauses. Again, the name doesn't really matter as long as you learn how to take your simple structures and make it more complex. That's all really matters. So let's take a look at the simple structure first. The sentence reads, after I talked to Sean, I went directly to my lab. So there are two actions here, and we're talking about the past. So the sentence is about the past. This whole grammar is about the past, actually. So pay very close attention to that part. Now, there are two actions. I'm using after, and then one action, after I talked to Sean. Then I'm using I went directly to my lab as the second action. So the first action is talk to Sean. The second action is went directly to my lab. Now, it's very clear that this is what's happening. Two actions, both in the past. Another thing that you should pay attention to is that both subjects for both actions are the same. So I talked to Sean, I went directly to my lab. So same subject on both sides. That is very important to understand because here you need to make sure that after you use one subject to talk about the first action. And then after that, in the second action, you need to make sure you use the same subject. Your subjects cannot change. Now that you have a sentence like this with two actions, one happening after the other and the same subject, now we can make the change to the complex grammar. This is how the new sentence would look. Having talked to Sean, I went directly to my lab. Having talked to Sean, I went directly to my lab. So the only thing I really did here is I removed after and I removed the first subject. Then I brought in the word having, and it's always having. After that, I kept everything else the same. Now, the only difference would be if talked wasn't the past participle of talk. For example, maybe I have a sentence like this. After I went home, I called my mother. Well, for this sentence, I can't say having went home. I have to say having gone home. Why? Because we use having plus past participle, and then we have the next part of the sentence. So it's always having plus past participle. For this, talked is the past participle of talk, and it's the past form. But for other verbs like go, you would have to say gone. Having gone home, I called my mother. Having done something, I did something else. Let's look at some other examples. After the government ended the recession, they declared war. So we have two actions here. First action, government ended the recession. Second action, they declared war. These are two separate actions. Which one happened first? First, they ended the recession, and then they declared war. So I'm going to change it to a more complex structure. Having ended the recession, the government declared war. Let's try another one. After I read the book, I started the research paper. So first I read the book, then I started the research paper. How do I change it? Having read the book, I started the research paper. Remember, we're using having plus past participle, so the third part of the verb. What's the third part of eat? Eaten, right? What's the third part of read? Read. Let's do one more. After the police found his fingerprints, they were able to locate him easily. What's the first action? Police found his fingerprints. What's the action that happened after that? They were able to locate him. How do we change it? Having found his fingerprints, they were able to locate him easily. So pay very close attention to the verb that you use after having. This is simple grammar. All we do is we remove after in all the cases, and we bring having plus a past participle, and we keep the rest of the sentence the same.